Speaking of United States-Israel relations, many of us have been waiting patiently to see the effects of United States President Donald Trump's tariffs. Well, they hold a strong effect for both the short and long term, and today we have real estate expert Eli Tilson here to give us his input on the matter from his perspective. Eli, thank you so much for coming in.
My pleasure.
You're coming from Pancho Real Estate. First of all, tell me kind of what this trade tariff has really done, and how much it's raised costs.
So there's two things here to discuss. One is how much it actually is done and how much is perceived to be done in the future. So on the fact of what has been done now, you do see in different industries, such as lumber, steel, so that's the car industry, real estate industry, being affected slightly by actual costs, where the companies are trying to raise their costs in order to play into a market that might have this effect later on. But in the short term, relatively to now, we haven't seen specifically that happen in a big way, but there is nervousness in the market that can become something that we have to look out in the future.
And is that affecting, who is this blowback hitting hardest? Is it hitting like Israeli workers on the factory floor or Americans?
So it's going to affect Americans at the end of the day. The question is about, if you're going to invest in the U.S., how to look at this and how is it going to affect you in the long term and in the short term. In the short term, I would say that, yeah, you're going to see some construction costs go up. People are going to react to a market where they're nervous about tariffs. But in October 1st, when the NAFTA deal changed with Canada and Mexico, we saw proof that Trump's ability to bring actually the tariffs down at the end of the day is working. So the real question is what's going to happen with China in the future, and then we'll have a clearer picture on our future and long-term investment in the U.S.
Okay, so let's go into that. How does China play into this then?
So China plays into it because China, you have about $250 billion worth of import-export of tariffs from the U.S. side and about 150 from the Chinese.
They're in a trade war.
Exactly, and there's some in the trade war, or so-called trade war that we have right now. It's really who's going to crack first. And Trump's kind of staying strong on where he is, which he did with Canada, Mexico, as well as in Europe, and it seemed to work. The question is China going to give in and come into us, or is it going to be something that was going to be affected by Trump? So the question is the noise and what that's going to mean for us in the long term and how we underwrite our deals and looking at that, because if there is effect on steel, on lumber and things of that nature, and that affects our price and our real estate prices, so that means new development is going to be greatly affected, and what we're investing in the U.S. is going to be greatly affected by it.
So maybe from a perspective of real estate, since that's your specialty, or maybe investment in general, what would be your advice to investors in the coming months or year?
That's a good question. So my advice would be like this, is to, right now, take it 6 months at a time. We see that the market gets affected by the noise and the news that we're going to have about it. So you're going to see the different industries try to affect and try to retaliate towards what the news is. And then you're going to see the actual effects of it within that 6-month period. So we're going to look at it 6 months at a time, every half a year to take a look, but to be conservative, not to jump, to wait and see what to do in order to be successful.
All right. Eli Tilson, thank you so much. Pancho Real Estate.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.